I've been a solo wildlife photographer for over a decade, and I usually thrive on the isolation. Remote forests, silent lakes, abandoned cabins, that's my comfort zone. Or at least it used to be. About 3 years ago, I was hired to document elk migrations in the Sawtooth Mountains in Idaho. The area was isolated even by backcountry standards. 6 miles of treacherous hiking just to reach the survey point. I filed my route with the local ranger station and packed a week's worth of supplies, including emergency flares and a GPS tracker. The first day went smoothly. I spotted 3 elk herds, snapped hundreds of photos, and returned to camp before nightfall. Snow began lightly dusting the forest, just as forecasted. By the second day, though, the storm intensified. Visibility dropped and fresh snow covered every landmark. While descending a narrow ridge, my boot slipped on hidden ice, sending me sliding 15 feet before a tree branch stopped me. Pain shot through my ankle. I couldn't walk properly. Begrudgingly, I abandoned the day's work and aimed for camp, limping through the thick snow. Then I noticed tracks, fresh, human, parallel to my own. My heart rate spiked. I called out, thinking maybe a hiker or another ranger was nearby, but silence answered me. Minutes later, I heard footsteps again, circling behind me, though no one was visible. A metallic clang echoed to my left. I froze. When I glanced down, the original tracks I had seen were gone. My gaze shifted to the tree line, and there they were. Another set of footprints emerging from the trees, moving alongside me, perfectly parallel. My breath caught. I called out again. Nothing. The footsteps stopped. Then a heavy branch snapped behind me. Panic surged, but my ankle limited my speed. I staggered into camp, threw myself into my tent, and tried to ignore the sounds circling outside. Then I saw him, an old man, gaunt and grotesque, peering at me through the trees. He didn't move closer. He didn't need to. He whispered almost tenderly, "You're a lucky one," and then vanished into the forest. I left at first light, ankle throbbing, heart still racing. I filed a report with the rangers, but nothing came of it. I've returned to the woods since, but never alone in winter again. And sometimes when the wind howls just right, I swear I hear footsteps circling my camp again. I grew up in Alaska, guiding wilderness expeditions since my early 20s. Winter storms were routine. Snowstorms, avalanches, freezing temperatures. They were part of life, or at least they used to be. 3 years ago, my boyfriend Randy and I planned a 4-day snowmobile trek between 2 remote cabins, roughly 60 miles apart. The first day was uneventful, crisp air, clear trails, peaceful silence. But the next morning, a sudden blizzard hit. Wind clawed at our faces, visibility dropped to a few feet. Randy led while I followed, relying on his experience to navigate. Then, disaster struck. He lost control of his snowmobile, flipping and pinning his leg underneath. His screams were sharp, bone-crunching. I tried dragging him onto my snowmobile, but he was too heavy, the machine too unstable. Panic surged. Randy insisted I leave him. He'd stay put while I raced to the nearest cabin to call for help. My hands trembling, I rode blindly through the storm, trusting the GPS and hope. After 45 minutes, I spotted smoke through the trees. Relief surged. I'd found shelter. The cabin was small, seemingly abandoned. A fire burned in the stove. A bedroll lay on the floor. A half-eaten can of food. My eyes caught a notebook. Flipping through, I realized someone had been tracking people, documenting travelers, noting dates, positions, clothing. My blood ran cold. As I prepared to leave, a scream erupted from beneath the floorboards. A woman shrieking in pure terror. I bolted, snowmobile roaring, heart pounding. When I returned to Randy, emergency crews airlifted him. He survived, but the cabin, the screams, the notebook, they were gone. I've debated the possibilities countless times. Hallucination from fear and cold, a hidden trap by someone who hunts humans, or something worse. Whatever it was, the forest keeps its secrets, and I never venture alone in winter again. In high school, there was Sienna Rollins. She was unlike anyone I'd ever met. Aloof, enigmatic, impossibly alluring. Everyone else ignored her, but I was obsessed. One weekend, she invited me on a hike through an unfamiliar trail she had found. The first 20 minutes were pleasant. She spoke more than usual, asking about my writing, teasing me gently. Then the trail narrowed. The forest grew dense. At a fork, she gestured left without hesitation. I followed, trusting her instinct. Minutes later, I realized her footsteps were gone. I called her name. Silence. Confused, I doubled back. Still nothing. The right fork was worse. Overgrown, unnatural. I pressed on, calling, heart racing. A branch snapped. I spun and froze. A tall man stood, staring at me. Not Sienna. My pulse thundered. Another figure emerged, branch in hand, blocking retreat. Instinct took over. I ran blindly through the woods, dodging trees, branches slapping my face. They chased me. I stumbled back onto the main trail, gasping. Sienna emerged from the trees, perfectly calm, as if nothing had happened. Her nonchalance was infuriating, terrifying. She lied, claiming she thought I'd gone ahead. But I knew. Those men had been lying in wait, and she had led me straight into them. I never saw her again. Sometimes I wonder if Sienna is still out there, orchestrating encounters in the forest, her icy smile hiding something darker. And I know one thing. She was never the innocent girl everyone thought she was.